quite the talent he is. Proper chatterbox yada. If you're keen, it'll be brilliant. Today, we're going to keep it simple. I'll bark out a basic command and you watch. Keen to know? He'll set your tail wagging. Does mine, hence why I'm backing him. Right then, Wookie here. Do take a seat, won't you? Give us your full attention while we listen to my pal, Yada.
You know, that Wookiee, he's got a little bit of an attitude throughout that whole scene. I don't know if you've noticed, but, you know, scientific Wookiee in particular, he is, you know, I'll bark out the commands. You listen. That's our strategy here going forward. Oh, my. Well, it's wonderful to see everybody here. We got old One Love Reggae, Bob Marley up in the corner. You're not looking quite like Bob, but nevertheless, that's going to be our song for today. So we've got One Love up there. Captain Kirk, what's going on with you, buddy?
Oh, nothing much.
Nothing much? You played Pebble Beach recently, Cypress Point? No. You're feeling like you could?
Oh, sure.
No, not yet.
No.
Oh, the recovery is slow, huh?
Yes.
Any news at all?
Oh, yeah. I went to the doctor without, I don't want to mention his name because he might actually watch our show. I went to him and told him I can't take this stuff with a list like 15, 18 things that I can't live with anymore. It's been a couple of months now. And I said, I got to get off this medicine. And I said, well, what about, you want to live a long time? And I said, well, I know exactly how long I'm going to live. I did. And I told him, and I said, and he told me a kook or whatever you want to call me, but on a debate, I'll debate him with him. But,
yeah.
And I told him about yada yada and all this kind of, everything. I don't know what I was saying, but it all came out really good because he was just fascinated. He just got the whole.
Gobsmacked, I'm sure.
Did he let you off the medicine?
Yeah, he changed it. Now I've got another medicine that knocks out the other medicine I already took for the covers 2 months, and my body don't know what it's doing anymore. So, but I just quit everything.
But you're still hanging in here with us.
Yeah, well, absolutely.
Absolutely.
That's the best place to be.
It is the best place to be.
Yeah.
Hello, Mike.
Hi.
Yeah.
I got a comment on the website. I meant to mention it last week, but I didn't. On the Dead Sea Scrolls, about a third of the books are okay, but 2/3 of them have the word order. The word order is correct, but the Hebrew letters within the words are reversed. I told Joe I emailed Joe back in March about it, but he doesn't know how to fix it.
Yeah, it's
I might be the only one that's ever been there. I don't know, but there's probably not a lot of people that go to the Dead Sea Scrolls, tab. But
yeah. Oh no, I have actually. I do it a lot. In fact, I'm there. Probably,
you didn't notice that?
We noticed it, and then we brought it up to Joe, and I just haven't gone back to double check it because I don't use that extended part of it. All I look for is where the discrepancies are. So I've not used the second part of it, but it's difficult in our mindset because even from the tool point of view, it wants to present it's like I do transliterations. I do the transliterations even of the Hebrew in the English left to right format, as opposed to the Hebrew right to left format. But when you're writing the Hebrew, you should be right to left, even if the transliterations are left to right. But it does make it much harder for a lot of people to follow. And I can tell you that now that we have our own font, and I can just type it in our font, I still have the tendency. My mind always works from left to right, so I still have the tendency to do that. So, oh my goodness, I just did that wrong again. You have to go and reverse it.
It's like learning how to drive on the left, isn't it, honey?
Yeah, exactly. But you also know that you're making it a little bit hard for the reader because they're looking at the transliteration, and then you go to the Paleo Hebrew, and you've written it in the reverse order. So it's a
yeah, but that's the way it needs to be if it's in Hebrew.
Of course,
Hebrew
of
reads
course.
right to left.
Yeah, of course. I'm not disagreeing with the facts. I'm explaining why it happens and what the challenge is when you're communicating in English and you have a transliteration next to it. So yeah, it's something that needs to be corrected, but it even when corrected, it's not necessarily completely right. All right, Will, what's happening with you?
Oh, not much. It was a great week, very busy. Jake keeps me young. I had a full head of hair until I had that kid.
Yeah, see.
Yeah, I had a great week on the website. I really, I'm really fascinated with the translating section and Kirk's glossary, and the ability just to search the books. I mean, you can get to information quickly. You can verify it, double check it, make sure maybe something I heard in one of your vlogs. I want to check that real quick. And did I understand that correct? Is there another way to look at this? So it's just a quick, easy reference, and I'm starting to get the hang of maneuvering through it. So.
One of the things that's going to help that a lot, and Joe's going to have this up for us shortly, is that I have 3 versions right now of Coming Home 4. I've started Coming Home 4 3 times, and so I have 3 versions of it. They're partly edited. I've entered everybody's edits in it once. I have a second set of edits from everybody I haven't entered yet, and I haven't finished any one of the 3 of them. And so the challenge here is we're learning so much information at such a rapid rate that what you write a month ago isn't necessarily current anymore. But if with this new tool, we will have unpublished books. So the unpublished books can still be read. They're going to be presented under this has been partially edited, not completely edited. It's a work in process. Yeah. But it has the latest translations and the latest analysis, and we're learning at such a prodigious pace that having the most recent, like this program is being delivered from Luminaries, which is the 3rd edition of Volume 4 of Coming Home. One of the 3 editions of Coming Home Volume 4. I think it'll make a difference. And we also wanted to have it for Ask Yada and the AI assistant, because if we give somebody is listening to a show and they want to check on something we're saying in the show, well, if you were checking on the 6 Lives of Dode, you aren't going to find it any place in the published books.
Correct.
So we're putting the AI in a difficult handicap position if we don't give the AI the most recent books. And so I want to take the risk of sharing 3 uncompleted books that have the most recent translations so that you can stay current with your studies and the AI can stay current with its answers.
Yeah, I think that's a great addition.
So that's what we're going to do here shortly. So they won't appear on the books page, for example.
Right.
But and I did put chapters in the chat, and I didn't see a request for more, so I've just done other things and I haven't entered more. But I could enter, 15, 20 chapters in the chat as well, but that wouldn't feed the AI and it wouldn't feed search. So what we want the new unfinished books to feed the translation index.
Yes.
So they'll feed into that. They will feed the Ask Yada capacity and be searchable. They'll also feed into the search engine. So that's our thought. I think hopefully we'll get that done. And it may already be done. Joe's called me once each of the last 2 days, and we've been so fixated on getting the new Ocean Studio so that we have something that we can open and close that functions as a studio where we can do things like vlog on the vlog, where I have to have a monitor. We have to have multiple cameras, multiple monitors, the teleprompter, plus a online rendition of the show. And we couldn't do that out there, nor could we take care of the gear, which it's a lot of money invested in and all that. And long lead time to replace it. So we've been working on doing that too, and to see if we could get to a triple dip on Fridays, and occasionally do and get to a standard operating procedure where we do a vlog on the vlog mini series, the daily version, 5 days a week, always at 11 o'clock. And that within 30 minutes of the end of that show, we do a standard vlog presentation. And on the days we have super energy, we'll try to do another evening show. But that was the plan. And it's surprising how much work goes into tuning a studio like that. And we're still, I think although we bought 3 or 4 alternatives, and we have lots of alternatives here, we're still one camera shy of really making it work the way we want it to. Yeah. JB, besides losing your hair, man, what's happening?
Actually, I had a little downtime this week, and I'm working on updating all the cheat sheet stuff from my website so we can get it pushed over to the Yada Yada site.
Oh, excellent. And you're also helping us out with the MP3s. There were several requests on our last show after we did the website, and one was to have JB's MP3s available so they could either be downloaded or they could be listened to on your phone or any way else you want to. But we've begun to, or JB, you've begun to, and I think they're working on trying to get it more animated, but begun to be able to populate the MP3s on the website.
Nice.
Yep. So, Miss Leah, you've been a full-time songwriter.
Yeah, I suppose, yes.
Yeah, Leah's is 18 hours a day with her songs. She heard where it says "barren woman sing," and she's taking that very seriously. That is committed to seeing if she can produce one song a day and keep the graphics team up
on their toes
on that same pace. We're going to have another Leah song here momentarily. And Rich, you've still got your hair considered, which is pretty amazing when you consider what we've been through the last 2 days trying to create new studios.
Oh, that's been fun. So we'll get it all worked out. We got some of those cameras reordered, and I've ordered a couple surprise cameras to test out. So.
Yeah, technically, it's surprisingly hard to do what we're doing here. You can get a very simple setup, but if you try to make it interesting and have varieties of camera angles and the like, and then to do a show like we have here, there's a lot that goes into it. We called him King of the Cables. There's a few miles of cables just sitting in each of these studios that we have.
Kind of a rat's nest to get cleaned up.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. And we got Perry off into the corner. If he scoots over, we can get Perry's smiling face and a hello. But yep. So we have Perry as well. Perry took the responsibility of after it was set up by Joe and Kevin. But if you go now to the vlog page of the website and you go to media and then invites or music, we've done a huge upload in terms of our programs. And now you can search for any program, whether it be basics or the vlog or an invite or music. And there's a page where they're all organized in the proper arrangement by category, by show episode number, and they're described, and you can play them and stay right on our site. And the other thing you can do is comment on them. And so you can comment. It'll show up not only for the next person that listens to that particular show will read your comment and can comment on your comment, but it also goes into the comment section of chat. So there's a tab that says, after topics on the far right side, it's comment. And you can comment on any of these blogs or music or invitations. And some of these invitations are just amazing. So important to get them because to have that much talent and that much beauty and artistry not seen when it's so vital to what we're trying to do. I'm thrilled to have them. So a lot of additions. So other than One Love being a Bob Marley song.
It is a reggae song.
Right.
And the Suno singer is not Bob Marley.
No.
He's all original. He's very raspy singer. I like him a lot. One Love is a song just that. One love, one people, one Elohim.
So
Yahweh.
You're still focused on the greatest love story ever told, Ruth and Boaz?
No, One Love is just a happy song about the covenant.
Okay, all right, because Ruth has the greatest, I think by far, the best line ever in the Torah and Prophets is Ruth's. Where you go, I go. Your people are my people. Your God is my God. It's goosebumps. What she had to say.
Is this the reggae song One Love? I think this is the reggae song. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Reggae song.
Yeah, let's roll it.
All right. So let's roll it there, Kevin.
Sax lamp on this lake in 33. Blood that flow for free, we from Pharaoh's wicked laws. He spring over, shall get no more slave to the beast. Yahweh's our overrise, bring the covenant feast. Hey, Pesach night, lamb roasted true. Thou pay the price to me and you. No religion chain, no politics near. Pesach unlock the door, Yahweh dead. Matzah on yeast bread, clean out the living that make you stink. No religion puff up, pure truth from the Torah. Be carrying firstborn, rise up perfect in you. Thou lead we home in a Yahuwah's crew. Shabbat waiting, promise sweet and true. Taruah shout, Kippurim heal, Sukkah for the joy in the song. Shag Matzah 7 day, birthdays from your soul. No Christianity, Babylon, no Rabbi control. Thou unleavened life, perfect without sin spot. From Torah teaching flow, connect the dots. Be carrying wave the sheep, first fruit rise in the light. Thou the immortal now, and the endless night. From spring feast to fall, a plan unfold right. Yahweh family call, step in a the fight. In the song, hear the rhythm, Pesach door open wide, matter purified, the current side by side. Shabua and Rick 7-7 blood, Taruah trumpet blow that call. All the children home, so keep him reconcile. White tears from every eye, Sukkah camp out eternal under Yahweh's sky. Thou the Mashiach King reign for 1,000 years.
That is the line, isn't it? Matzah, take out the Stankman.
The whole time I'm watching that, I'm thinking of Yawa's expression the first time it's played before him. He's got to be grinning from ear to ear and shaking his head side to side and saying, "This is my Amma." Yeah, man, this is my Amma.
2 decades in the Caribbean paid off.
Oh, shake it, baby. And then I see Dode saying, "Hey, I got the coolest mom ever." And Dode getting up and just dancing to it and have everybody, they go from being shocked and say, "Oh my God, is she offending God with this reggae song and all of these lyrics?" He's just going to absolutely explode. And then Dode gets up and he starts dancing to it with the big smile in the on the beach with the flames of the campfire, and then everybody relaxes and sings along. That's how I'm figuring it, how it's going to play out. That is hilarious.
That was great.
2 decades in the Caribbean did pay off, sir.
Oh my.
Yeah.
And the reason behind the song is purely that I can't imagine Shamayim without African people, and you just have to make the music they like.
Yeah, I'm not sure reggae really is ethnic in the African
ethnic
sense. It's certainly Caribbean. It's island jive, but it's also interesting that the reggae roots really populated around the Rastafarian culture, and that culture is an interesting culture in that they know that God's name is Yahweh, and they know that the Torah reigns supreme, and I mean they're confused on a lot of stuff, and they're really big into the Lion of Judah. Now I'm going to say that way too much smoke. And we're not talking about campfire here. We're calling about the marijuana, and it took them into strange places. But there are places where we do touch, and I can tell you that overwhelmingly that song should be fun. Song should touch your emotions. It should cause you to want to laugh or cry or jump up and dance or inspire you to some great achievement. I think that music, with the combination of the melody and the lyrics, is the ultimate means to communicate.
As long as the lyrics tell a story.
Yeah, the lyrics tell a story, and it's done passionately. It's this marvelous blend of emotion and intellect. So, Eric Kirk, now that's a long way from Kirkian, I would think. Were you still okay with that?
Oh yeah, I'd like to get the words printed though, because I miss a word here and there, and it's going kind of fast. And I'm looking on a little phone. I'm looking on a little phone.
Oh yeah, it's tough on a little phone. I'm looking at a screen that's 2 feet wide, and I do have a camera sitting in front of it. It makes it hard to see around the camera as they move.
That's how big the writing is.
Yes. So, Will, what do you think? Is that something that Jake would love? But how about you?
Yep. Oh, I thought it was wonderful. And you know what? If Dode said that, he stole that line about the greatest mom ever from me. That was my line about Leia. But I think it's going to be, it just reminded me, this is going to be a lot of Sukkah. There's going to be a lot of learning, and there's work to be done, and that's part of it. But celebrating not just the Moed Mikre and the Shabbat, but just celebrating that evening, whatever it is, just getting together around a campfire and singing. People are going to be writing songs, and it's just, this is going to be a big part of the fabric of Sukkah. Is going to be songs.
What are we celebrating? Yeah, we're celebrating Yahweh's name.
Yeah, and life.
Yeah,
life,
for sure.
Yeah.
And how rare and precious life is.
Yes, and each other and family.
Twice today, Kevin wrote me about the blog on the blog, the mini series that we're doing now, which is much shorter and with a timer and cut in half, or half news and half Torah. And it both said, this is great fun. This is really fun. We get to talk about the stuff we like talking about, and
absolutely
the pace of it and the timing of it. It's fun. So that's what this strikes me. That's why I see the Yahweh I know is going to play this to the hilt. He is going to have that look. He's going to be shaking his head, and everyone's just going to be freaked out, like, oh my God, is he going to explode? And he's going to get that grin, and Dode's going to get up and dance. Greatest mom ever, and let's dance.
Yeah,
it's going. I'm torn between let's just play it again right now and let's play it again at the end of the show, because in fact my choice would be let's play it again now, because even if you can't read the lyrics there, my friend Kirk, they are, even in my ears, they're pretty darn clear. JB, what do you think?
I like the kind of reggae's just got that rhythm you just can't help but groove to, and then the lyrics were just great.
Yeah, it's when I think of tropical paradise and warm water and soft sand and blowing palm trees and pretty girls and all sorts of bougainvillea and plumeria and all of that.
I'm picturing a big old beach campfire.
Yeah,
like a bonfire, huge fire.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, and with a full moon and just absolutely stunning. Rich, you grew up in the music industry.
I love reggae, but good reggae always tells a good story. Marley's stories were fantastic. Everyone still remembers them. All three of her songs that she's done in reggae all tell a good story.
Mm-hmm.
Bob Marley was Jewish.
Of course, I know.
That's a fact.
Yes.
Yeah. We can write good songs.
Wow.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and play it again. It's a few minutes of our time. There's nothing. Maybe you guys can top it. It's like the Wookiee introduction. Sometimes I don't know what to say after it because it's so well done. This song is so spectacular. It's almost like, I was thinking that the symbol I should send for this is just to get up in the chair. The camera comes back on and I'm not here anymore. And the answer is he can't top that. That's a show in itself.
Turn off the lights. All right,
turn off the lights. That is a show. Yeah, it's a show in and of itself. I've been on Leia saying, you need to stop writing. You're outproducing the team's ability to even process what we're hearing. And that's her view is no, we're a long way from that.
Full steam ahead.
Yep, full steam ahead. All right, let's play it again.
Yeah, man, yeah, man. Down the lion, down the Pesach lamp on the stake in 33. Blood that flow for free, we from Pharaoh's wicked laws. He spring over, shall get no more slave to the beast. Yahweh's are overrise, bring the covenant feast. Hey, oh. Pesach night, lamb roasted true. Thou pay the price to me and you. No religion chain, no politics near. Pesach unlock the door, Yahweh dead. Matzah on his bread, clean out the living that make you stink. No religion puff up, pure truth from the Torah. Be carrying firstborn, rise up perfect in you. Thou lead we home in a Yahuwah's crew. Shabbat waiting, promise sweet and true. Taruah shout, Kippurim heal, Sukkah for the joy in the song. Shag Matzah 7 day, purge the haze from your soul. No Christianity, Babylon, no Rabbi control. Thou unleavened life, perfect without sin spot. connect the dots. Big Karim wave the sheep, first fruit rise in the light. Thou the mortal now, and the endless night. From spring feast to fall, the plan unfold right. Yeah, Yahweh family call, step in a the fight. Yeah, mob sound is bed, clean up the living life. No religion puff up, pure truth from the most high. The Karim firstborn, rise up perfect in you. Thou lead we all in a Yahuwah's crew. Shabbat waiting, promise sweet and true. Yeah. Taruah show Kippurin heel, Sukkah for the joy in the song. Hear the rhythm, passage door open wide. Matter purified, the current side by side. Shabua and Rick 7-7 blood, Taruah trumpet blow that call. All the children home so, Kippurim reconcile. White tears from every eye. Sukkah camp out eternal under Yahweh's sky. Thou the Masha's king reign for 1,000 years. No more pieces there, corrupt and straight in Yashe. Damika recall your own too. One love, one give God. One day Elohim, yeah. I read that vibe, thou forever true. Yada Yahweh, Fion one come true. Torah land the path, no blind stand no more. Family coming undone, open living's goal. Yeah, mo. Shabua, one love, one year.
Would I also be correct in saying that's an M&M production, Mariah and Matt?
It was Leia, Mariah, and Matt. Yeah, the
Okay.
three of us.
The graphics,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, the graphics are glorious. I did notice there was role reversal though. Rather than Dode seeing the naked Bathsheba taking a bath, you all chose Dode in the bathtub. She's grinning out from end to ear to
Yep.
ear. Yep.
How does it feel?
Yeah. How does it feel? Yeah. Role reversal. Wow. It's going to be tough to compete with the Dode, huh?
Yeah, no joke.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
I thought we said the body was meaningless, and here we are.
Yeah, well,
Here we are. Hey, baby.
Not everybody is meaningless.
hey, you fell for that one, did you?
I did. Yeah. I think that for 1,000 years, we're going to be able to go in and out of bodies. And when we have one, they won't be meaningless.
Nope.
So, oh, goodness.
Good to know.
By the way, that's Jessica's favorite song. That one there.
Oh, of
Yeah,
course. It's
her favorite.
It's beyond marvelous. I'm going to change the subject only because that's what we do. But there is part of me just says you can't beat that. That's love. That's fun. That's inspiring. That's the message is right. It's just that can you imagine Yashaya or a Dode having both? Okay, say okay there, son. Sit down. We're gonna write another psalm here. We're gonna set that the beat's gonna be to reggae. Right. A little steel drum is going to be the beat. Take off your shoes, wiggle your toes in the sand, pal, and here we go. Let her loose. We're going to take off the stink.
Right.
It's yada yada away. So it's a far cry from blowing the shofar.
Yep. They blow the conch shell.
Yeah, blowing the conch shell.
I learned how to do that too.
Okay. All right. So during our blog on the blog daily, we returned full circle to Yahweh's statement that through the prophet Yeshaya, that ultimately mortal men were going to be as rare as the refined gold from Ophir.
Oh, I know the answer.
And I went through that initially, and it was true that Mike had already fact checked it. I just hadn't entered his fact check, and as I had said earlier, when I presented it during Luminaries, I hadn't gotten up mid-sentence to probably do a vlog or that sort of thing. You know, they ping me on my phone and says, you know, it's set up, come in and sit down and start talking. And I came back and I didn't finish the calculation. So I went back and said, okay, let's just cut to the chase. God actually answers the question, how much gold was refined that's pertinent in Ophir? He tells us specifically that Dode collected from Ophir 3,000 talents. And we're told specifically that Solomon collected 450 talents. And you add those two together, that's 3,450 talents. And if you're going to convert talents to pounds, the range is between 70 and 77. It's, this is an ancient means of weight, and no one is exactly sure if it's 70 or 77. But if you use intermediate number between the two and you do just the quick math, you then have to, you take that total, and the next thing you have to do is figure out, what does a person weigh? And I was surprised, I shared earlier that as a pilot, we were always told to, if you don't know the weight of each individual, that you apply 150 pounds per person, the average weight of a person, 150 pounds. And the assumption was that the average woman was around 125 and the average man about 175. And so they average 150 pounds. Yeah, not true anymore. The average Israeli, I thought I'd do Israelis, and we recognize that Americans make up a very significant number of Jews as well, and potential covenant members, and also the Goyim that are in the covenant. And so I did checked both places, and wouldn't you know, it's within a pound of the same. 185 pounds is the average weight of an adult between men and women. And men are on average about 195 to 200, and women are surprisingly 175 pounds on average now. So 185 pounds. So if you do the math, it's 1,400 people would be the mortal remnant at the end of during Teruah to go into the garden. Now, that we're told specifically that God's bringing in two types of people. Israelites, and we know the Israelites will be divided between Yehudim and Yisrael because of what's said in Yirmiyah 31, but also what's said in Yeshaya 17. So they're going to be Yisraelites and Yehudim, and there's also going to be Goyim. God says that he's going to, that's what the dappled chariot's for. We're going to go pick up Goyim with the right attitude and aptitudes, and they're going to be the workers of the millennial Shabbat. And judging by what we can tell thus far in terms of how the story is resonating and how Yehudim continue to be rather stiff-necked, obstinate, that there is no reason to suspect that there's going to be any more Yisraelites than there are Goyim. And we have an affirmation in Yirmiyah 17, not Yirmiyah, but Yeshaya 17, that there will be 2 or 3 olives in the uppermost branches that are protected in the crack, the fissures, and by the talkative stick. And there are 4 or 5 in the branches which have been cut away. He didn't say lower branches. He said the branches which have been cut away. That would be Israel. The 10 tribes being cut away during the Assyrian captivity.
Proving that Yahudi are more obnoxious.
Yeah. So, well, they're the ratio of 2 to 5 or 3 to 4. It's one tribe to the all of the other 11, and then the other 11, and so it's actually Yehudim are over represented, not underrepresented by that criterion. But 2 plus 5 and 3 plus 4, either way, it's 7. And so you would expect that, God doesn't mince words. He doesn't say things that aren't relevant. Therefore, there's going to be a multiple of 7 Israelites that are going to be part of that mortal remnant. And so if you take 1,400 and you know that you've got 2 groups, the natural inclination is to cut it in 2 and say there's going to be 700 Israelites and 700 Goyim. And you have the affirmation in Yeshaya, there's going to be 700 Israelites. But that's the math. Now we can look at it and say God was just spoofing, that's just a fun thing. He was just saying that people are going to be rare, and gold from Orifer was kind of neat, but don't do the math. Don't extrapolate this. This is just I'm just spoofing with you. Surely we're not going to go into the garden with 1,400 people from a planet of 8.1 billion, right?
So
it's a survivable genetic sample. Of humanity. It's a survivable.
It takes at least 50 people to repopulate the Earth.
How many?
50.
At least 50.
Okay.
To not get inbreeding and stuff.
Yeah. All right. Well, this would be
50 women, maybe. I think it's 50 women. You have to have like 50 women.
Okay.
Because
God's pretty good on the genetics thing, so he's not going to screw that up. Now, that's I think that's the number. I think that's what we're working towards. So then the natural thing would be, okay, so now that God has given us the answer, and I think that is the answer. I think that when in Bereshit Genesis 6, when God says that the problem with man is there became too many of them, and he's not talking about too many of them back in the Nephilim period, pre-flood, going back 5,000 years ago. And he says that when man became many, man became bad. So you can pretty much extrapolate from there and to say God's not looking for a lot. This isn't a quantity thing. He thinks quantity man is bad. And so we're definitely looking for quality man, not quantity man. So I think 750 and 750 seems pretty comfortable. That's a good number. That's a number we can work with. Not overwhelming, and they will be able to, of course, procreate, and they'll do so for 1,000 years. He started in the garden with 2, with 1, became 2, and now we're rebooting it with 700 Israelites and 700 Goyim. Then the natural question would be, all right, we've got 3 harvests, Akurim, Shabbat, and Teruah. And now we know God's criterion, and it's pretty stiff. That whole experience, for example, up there on Mount Moriah with Abraham and Yishak, I was not kidding around. You're going to finish the job. I've talked to you all about the covenant. There's times you got it, times you didn't get it. But this is now real. Are you going to follow through, and you're going to listen to what I say, and you're going to do as I ask? And now that we know that that's what went wrong in the garden originally, and we know what God's looking for, what do you think? How about this Shavua? I've speculated 80. And I chose 8 here rather than a multiple of 7 because God gives us a Shabua and Teruah yardstick to use, and it's 8. And we know that Shabbat is essentially the same as Noach's experience. So Shabbat and Noach are very similar situations. You're being saved within the covenant from impending doom. And that's what the time of trouble is, and that's what the Shabbat harvest is. There were 8 souls on board the ark, and God, when He describes the intent of Shabbat, He mentions 8 specific individuals, and they could be types of individuals, but there's 8 of them. So I think it's a multiple of 8, and my speculation is 80. What do you guys think?
Totally reasonable.
Pardon?
Yeah, there are 73 people watching this program today, right now.
Bingo. Go look at our stats overall. I'm not surprised at all.
Yeah.
Coming down here, I was being generous, thinking, are there really a couple hundred people that are covenant? And I don't see it.
I don't either.
Yeah. And now look at how many people have signed up to the site who are actively doing something. Mm-hmm. 80 is a valid.
Yeah, about 120 members on the website. Now you're not going to come to that website, and you're not going to sign up unless you're pretty darn serious about this whole message. There's 120 people on that website. Mm-hmm. I'm not even sure there's 80 people that are really active on the website at this point. I think there will be, but there aren't at this point. I really like the number of 80. I think that's a nice family size. That's a number I think God would be really comfortable with.
And it's so small, nobody notices they're gone.
That's right. Yeah, I think 80 is it. And we've pulled away from soliciting. Yeah. We're off social media other than to use it as a library, a storage facility. It's actually a retrieval facility for our library books. Our library is at yada.com, but it's a retrieval place. And then typically you would think that a gleaning as a secondary harvest would be a smaller harvest, but it doesn't have to be smaller. It just has to be harder fought. It's a more difficult harvest. You have to work harder to glean the final fruit. I think that we have
Not if you're Ruth.
Well...
Boaz used to cheat and tell his people to leave stuff for her.
Yeah, that's right. That's true. Boaz liked Ruth. Yeah, Boaz said, I don't know who that pretty girl is over there.
Make sure you leave a little behind for her.
I have a hunch. I think I've seen that pretty girl before. In fact, even Boaz even said, you don't need to tell me your story, sweetheart. I know all about you. I've known you for 3,000 years, so don't tell you. I get your story, sweetheart. And
I have a story.
Yes.
So when I was growing up, I grew up in north central Illinois, which is corn country. So our neighbor had a malfunctioning combine or corn picker. And so when he was harvesting, it left a lot of corn on the ground. I mean, like the whole ear, not just little bitty kernels. So he paid me something. I don't know, I was a kid, so I didn't care. Any money was great. Yeah. So I could go out there and glean the field of all this corn, take a wagon out there.
Yeah. So it wasn't
so I've gleaned fields before.
Yeah, you've gleaned fields before, and you can have a pretty significant harvest in a gleaned field. It's a lot more work in the wagon than it is in the combine.
Yeah, a lot harder pulling away.
Yeah, and the gleaning process, you've really got to whack that tree with a stick to get them off. And the olives fall in the ground, and in this case, they were protected by a crack, fissures in the rock. So I would not be surprised if Shabbat was 10 times Shimei. The Teruah was 8 times Shabbat, because in the fun reggae sense, we're cheating on Shabbat or on Teruah. We got to play Shabbat straight, man. There's really no cheating at all. You lay it out there. People got to do the reading. It's a lot of work. But on Teruah, I mean, we've got the Dome of the Rock and the Dome of the Hoof and the Alaska Mosque obliterated. We got the Temple Mount completely cleansed by God. We have a replica of the tent of the witness. We got Elia coming back after being gone 2,880 years by that point.
Oh yeah, we're breaking the game.
Oh, we've got a banner that's going over our heads that has the Iowa vlog and yada yada and all sorts of messages from God. We've got the Ark of the Covenant restored. We've got the 10 tablets in stone. We got an original autograph of the Torah, and we got people shooting at us all day long, and they can't even. Yeah,
in spite of all that, we've got millions of people that still want to kill you.
Yeah, that's right. Well, they do.
It's not going to be. It's not going to be all fun and games.
No, it's not going to be. I'm not saying it's easy, but you've got Israel with their backs up against the wall, such that 2/3 of Jews are going to die, and it's idea that clearly the IDF, their politicians, the rabbis can't save them. So all of their institutions have failed. So you have people who are literally desperate, and they've got a supernatural alternative that is so credible that they can speak in any language, and they have control over matter. They can literally bend matter with their thoughts. And so under those circumstances, you'd think we'd do pretty well, wouldn't you?
I think you'd get somebody's attention.
I mean, that's like shooting fish in a barrel.
Yeah.
What do you think there, Kirk?
Well, I want to ask you a question. Sylvia, last time she was there, her and her son, 2 sons and her former husband, they were walking around the bottom there, and they kept the little Arab guys, young Arabs, were throwing rocks at them. She said, big rock. And she said, you could at least come up one time and get a little revenge if she could. So she said, when we're up there, whoever's up there, let her up the hill for a little while. There were a couple of rocks, and she'd be
She
just
wants
happy.
to throw rocks at her.
I'll do better than that.
Yeah,
Okay.
Not one of them will survive.
First of all, there will be 0 Muslims, 0 Haredim on that Temple Mount.
0 scum.
None. Yeah. That Temple Mount will be a sanctuary for new additions to the covenant family. We will protect the new additions to the covenant family.
Yeah, guess who's the gatekeeper?
Yeah. So that, but you try to step on that Temple Mount, you don't belong until we say Rahab can enter now. There will be no malfeasance, nothing on that Temple Mount. And literally, we're going to be able to do the thing that I've known we're going to be able to do for a long time. We can bend matter with our mind. We can speak changes into the material world. And, there's only so many times they're going to call you a devil for speaking for God and do that. And seeing that the people who are religious and political and part of the problem and people who are trying to kill you die in the process. And after a while, some of the people are going to say, maybe you got to listen to these guys. Yeah, maybe.
So we can make them choke on their words.
Make them choke on their words, absolutely.
Yeah, miracles, yada, are not going to do. They're, these people have terrible attitudes, sort of like the children of Israel out in the desert. And when you have a terrible attitude, you're only as good as your last miracle. It just ends, and now you need another miracle just to keep going. So I could see where people they're not going to respond. It's just, they're not going to put it together.
Yahweh used 10 miracles, major miracles, to free the children of Israel from Pharaoh. And he didn't have to do any of them. He says, I'm going to do it because it's important for you to see the influence of a real God over a menagerie of fake gods. And a God over man. It's important for you to witness this. And so I'm going to go through this process. But when the children of Israel got to Nueva Beach and they were being pursued by Pharaoh's army, they immediately said, we want to go back. You just brought us out here to die. And rather than saying, well, there were 10 spectacular miracles, we ought to trust God. We're now free. And we've been slaves for 80 years and been here for, nearly 400. Let's just keep on walking. He'll open a way. The last miracle meant nothing to them.
Nope.
What a shame.
Yeah, so
No, we
I happen
paid-
to agree. Miracles are not going to be the answer, but there have to be miracles.
Yeah,
and
because
they're
you
not
want to
they
protect
aren't-
the family,
right?
And
right. They're not show-off miracles; they're protective miracles. And the protective miracles come in a variety of ways. There's going to be this. We're told by the prophets. There's a moving scroll, giant moving scroll over the witnesses' heads. Now, there's lots of ways you could do that, particularly at night. It'd be hard to do naturally and daytime now, but you could absolutely do that at night, and so people aren't going to be freaked out by that.
Oh,
But it'll be a very effective communication
what a
medium.
great use of the Western Wall. We'll just project it there.
Yeah, but it's going to be over their heads, not under their feet. The transformation of the Temple Mount will be significant, and it has to be done. It's not being done as a show-off miracle. It's being done at the request of the fellows that are going to be up there. They just and God, who is supporting them. We don't do well in proximity to that kind of trash. So,
Gives me the hives.
I've already spent my time in social media. I don't need to do that again. And so we have an agreement. It's going to be gone. And plus the fact you can't put the tent of the restoring witness back up. You can't bring the Ark of the Covenant out of its protective place until there is the tent of the witness there. And he can't do either of those while the Dome of the Rock and Alaska Mosque is there. And you're not going to be an effective witness if people are throwing rocks at you from all sides. They can throw rocks from one side. That's just fine, but I don't want them from all sides. So there are going to be some miracles, but the miracles aren't to show off. And if people become belligerent, then we will shut them up. It's not time for debate. It's time to listen. And if you want to argue, then your life is going to be over.
Now, let me just tell you, we both have a short temper.
Yeah, I don't suffer fools well, but Yahweh doesn't either.
No. Do you think all the churches will be destroyed also?
I think so.
Absolutely.
What I don't. Well, will they all be destroyed? Yes. Will they all be destroyed prior to Teruah? In other words, between the 18th of April, 2030, is that day or immediately before that day, that when we return is when I expect the Temple Mount to be clean. I would love to have the Church of the Holy Sepulchre and any other mosque that's in eyesight gone. I don't know if he's going to do that or not, but there's enough affirmations in the Torah and prophets that the Temple Mount will be cleaned again. So I'm very comfortable, plus I've seen it, that God's going to clean the Temple Mount. It has to put the tent of the restoring witness there, to have the altar for the red heifer and that sacrifice. So confident. I can't extrapolate. I don't have enough information to know if it's 3.5 years early prior to the fulfillment of Teruah that the rest of the religious sites are completely incinerated, or if it will be on Teruah itself. One of those two. So it's I would think, knowing Yahweh, that there are places like the church or monastery or whatever it is that's on the top of the Mount of Olives, the Mount of Olives, that would be so visible, or any minaret that would blast a Muslim prayer, or any church steeple with a cross at the top of it. If anything that would be in our earshot or eye shot that would be irritating to the two witnesses, as tough a job as that's going to be, because everybody surrounding us is going to be irritating. I can see all of those things being destroyed. And I think that we are literally going to have the ability, as returnees from the seventh dimension, that we can transform matter with our words and minds. And I can tell you that if I'm looking out about the third day and I'm looking out and I see a church out there, poof.
That's the first week. You and Ilya just going around destroying it all.
Yeah, it's going to be gone.
Yeah.
It's and a bunch of rabbis gather on the to bang their heads against the rock wall. No, I just don't want to see it, to be part of it. And so they'll say, you're against God's people. You must be an anti-Semite. No, I'm really here in favor of the name. I'm just anti-religious. So you want to keep your distance. You may want to find something else you can bang your heads against. Let me give you maybe Hinnom Valley over there. That'd be a good spot for you. So yeah, it's going to be an extraordinary situation. But so the 800 for Teruah, you think that's a reasonable number? I think everybody's pretty comfortable with 80 for Shabbat.
Yeah.
I think it makes sense that it would be more, because I know a lot of people that I've talked with about this, that I've told them all this is coming, that aren't on board. Yeah, that are good. Yeah, the world won't notice when we're gone, but those close to us will. And those people are going to, I think some of those people will start opening their eyes, and they got 7 years to get ready. So
that's correct.
Yeah. If each of us know 4 or 5 people, and those 5 people, start coming around in that time, that gets your number up there pretty quick.
Yeah, let me give you another thought. This is something that Rich and I have been talking about a fair amount. I don't think I've talked to Leah about it, and Leah's probably going to have a fit over it. But what if we were given the opportunity in Shamaim, we're taken, whether it's this Shabbat or the next one, and there's a little over 3.5 years or under it, and we say, all right, this is spectacular. Thank you for this. You take a day each week for education. You take a day each week for just exploration and just to breathe again and to be exhilarated by all of this. And you spend 5 days a week right back here doing this job. Now, talking with the authority of someone, listen, I've just come back from Shamaim. I can tell exactly what it's like. And now not only have I read the prophets and know what's going to happen, I've seen exactly what's going to happen. And we're here to talk you through this 7 years. God didn't want you to be alone, Israel, for the 7 years. So we're going to talk you through it. This is what's going to happen. And perhaps they have even fluid Hebrew and being able to broadcast it to Israel. And a means to even communicate directly to Israel at this time. But what if God allows us? I first thing I would ask for. Now, I've thought it through. I originally said, first thing I want to ask for is just a hug and say, did I do okay, Dad? And then, I said, okay, give it to me straight. What did I get wrong? What did I miss? And what would you like done that we need to be prepared for? We've got a lot of work yet to do. Give me my homework assignment. I'm going to go off and correct the books, correct the vlogs. We'll get her done. That was kind of my approach. I'm not so sure that would be what it is now. I think 70 people on Shabbat is so manageable. I'm so comfortable with the people we're going to be spending eternity with that I'm really more now into what can we do to make this next 7 years as palatable as possible and help as many people come to know you as is feasible. Can we go back 5 days a week and
go
do
back
this?
to work?
Yeah, can we do this? And
it makes sense.
Yeah,
it's
Rich
just
said,
a matter of Yahweh allowing it.
Yeah. I so far we've had 3 people that I've shared this with have all said, yeah, I would do that. Yeah, that's exactly what I would do. I'd feel better doing that than I would vacationing for the 3 years.
As long as I don't have to do my day job, I can dedicate all my time.
No, you're not going to be doing your day job under this. Your day job is over. This is your day job.
Right.
What do you think there, Mike? Would you sign up for that? And you think that's a possibility?
That'd be great. I think he meant 3.5 years, not 7, though, right? You're only
3.5 years.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, 3.5.
Yeah.
Either
sounds great.
More than 3.5 or less than 3.5. But yes, I think it sounds good too, and it sounds consistent with Iowa. Kirk, you're saying, man, I'm tired. I'm only going to do it if I get a new body.
Yeah, everybody gets a new body.
There's that.
There's that. Yeah. But maybe move out of Carmel so that the weather's a little warmer.
That'd be good too.
Yeah, that too. Hey, we can all hang right here on the beach. This is not such a bad spot.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be wonderful.
Yeah. So we might 70 of us could hang here on this island and do it together. Can you imagine the influence of the world to have 80 of us conveying this message 5 days a week, having come back from Shamayim? It'd be like Moshe walking off Mount Horeb all aglow.
Wow. What a trip, man.
What a trip. Oh, and you're not bragging to anybody. You said, listen, I'm not trying to convince you of anything. We're here for you, and we're here to tell you that this is what you need to do if you want to survive this. But don't do it because you want to survive it. Do it because there really is a God, and he's worthy of your attention, and that your soul has value, and there's a lot to accomplish, and you can do marvelous things for your people if you accept the truth and start responding to it. I mean, let's tell you the story. We'll tell you the story right from the beginning. This is what happened in the garden. And we can even go beyond that and say, this is what happened in creation. It was one of the reasons, Kevin, that I was excited that you wanted to delve back into carbon. Carbon is anthropomorphic. The very fact that we exist as carbon-based life forms tells us that there was divine instruction, there was intelligent design, because it just is not realistic to think there'd be enough carbon to have life form off of it. For those that didn't hear that show this morning, but carbon is only created in red giant stars. And a red giant star is the building blocks of life occur when a star dies. And it's only in the death of a star, and a very certain kind of star, that the element that's fundamental to life is created. But the process requires a molecule, beryllium-8, that is so fragile. Speaking of just how fragile life is, this molecule is so fragile, its half-life is 1 to the minus 16th power, to 10 to the 16th negative power second. So that is a 0 point and then 15 zeros before a 1. That tiny fraction of a second is all beryllium-8 lasts. And during that tiny fraction of a second, in these exceedingly rare red giants, that stage is only 1% of their lifespan, where they have burned up all of their nuclear fuel for turning hydrogen into helium. And the star is collapsing in this final death blow, and the temperatures soar, and that it makes it possible for beryllium-8 to form. It lasts for 10 to the minus 16th of a second. It's so unstable. And during that fractional time, it has to find and resonate with, and then meld and marry a very specific molecule. And if it does in that fraction of a second, still, it's only 1 out of every 1,200 of those marriages that last. And the rest end in divorce instantly. And it's degraded right back to where it was. And that's the only way carbon is formed. and without it, there is no life.
Right.
Oh, by the way, what is the atomic number of carbon?
6.
Yeah. Six. And carbon has 6 attachment points, which make it so spectacular in terms of a bonding element. And what is the number of man?
6.
Yeah. Yeah, and which God's telling you, this is by design, and it's exceedingly fragile, and it is the resonance between the two. And he's almost telling you, this is how rare mortal men are going to be. This is how fragile you are and how rare you are. And that statement that I just translated this afternoon in Bereshit 6, God says, my spirit, he is not going to endure with mortal man. He just described mortal man as creepy, really weird and violent and all that kind of stuff. My spirit, he is not going to endure with mortal man. And there were several things here, and it was actually with flesh. It was Bashar. And so first of all, it tells you that for us to endure with God, we have to stop being flesh. Doesn't mean the flesh is bad. It just means we can't continue to be flesh if the Spirit of Yahweh is going to continue to be with us. We have to be transformed into a soul that is encapsulated in light energy. So that's pretty profound by itself. So this idea of Jesus being bodily resurrected because, bad Jews, they killed the Christian God. No. You have to be disassociated from your flesh to survive in Yahweh's presence. I thought that was pretty impactful. That's the whole story we've been telling. Walk such that you approach the fire during the celebration of the Moedim, because that fire is transformational. It takes your flesh and transforms it into light energy as a carrier for your soul. So very powerful insight there. But the second was the most glorious mistake I ever made in the 25 years that I've been doing this. The best mistake I ever made was extrapolating that because Hebrew grammar says that Ruach is feminine, that God must have feminine and maternal aspects to his nature. You all recall that?
Yes, I do.
Mm-hmm. Okay, best mistake I ever made. I learned a lot since then about Hebrew grammar. But God tells us in this story that's in the 6th chapter of Bereshit, the answer to that story. He says, my Ruach, my spirit, he will not continue to endure with man because he is flesh. He will not endure. Ruach is a feminine noun, isn't it? So shouldn't it have been written in third person feminine singular? But it wasn't.
Yes.
It was written in third person masculine singular when speaking of Yahweh's Ruach. What does that tell you?
Just has some characteristics that are emotional.
Yep. It tells you that Hebrew grammar does not
find the person,
designate the nature of the entity as feminine. It describes a characteristic that is appropriate to convey, to better understand that individual. And if you can take a masculine concept and give it a feminine noun to shape its nature, then what you're doing is you're expanding. That whole concept becomes more expansive. A great example is Etz becoming Etzah. Etz is a tree. Etzah is Hebrew grammar, feminine, a girly tree. But is it feminine, girly tree? Or is Etzah compared to Etz telling us that that tree branches out to tell a more complete story? A great example, we're sharing a book that will be titled Matzor. And in the plural, it's Matzoroth. And in Matzor is a masculine noun that gets the feminine plural as opposed to the masculine plural. So doesn't that tell you that these Maor are more complete? That they're not just serving as signs of the Moedim, but by being more complete, they are the Moedim?
Are fulfilling, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that they're going to complete the Moedim, and that the whole concept is that perfection is for idiots. What we're looking for is completion. And that's a process to be more complete every day, to complete the job, but complete from an imperfect perspective, not a perfect perspective. So I think that was such an insight to me as I'm confronting it. And I began my explanation by saying it's the best mistake I ever made. I assumed because Ruach was feminine and God projects his influence into our world using the Ruach, that Yahweh must have a maternal aspect and a feminine aspect to his nature. But when you read and study and have the right mindset, you realize that God always presents himself as masculine singular, always. And so, therefore, he ain't mom, not a hermaphrodite. And by making that mistake, I found Leah. You know, she was one of 8 billion people on the planet. One of back the time she was born, to be one of well, it depends on what life, but 6 billion in this life. And that process occurred. So I made a mistake by over extrapolating feminine nature of Ruach to say that God must have some maternal characteristics, rather than recognizing that a feminine noun ascribed to a masculine entity makes that entity more complete. Like, for example, it was Dod's soul that carried our guilt into Sheol. Dod is a dude. Nephesh is feminine. It's the same process of going from Etz tree to Etzah, the comprehensive nature of that tree branching out and providing the entire story from beginning to end. So the reason it was so helpful is that going back almost 20 years ago now, Leah had done something that many of you have done, which is to solicit many ways to find God, because you just innately sense God exists, but you can't find him in religion, because the religions make up gods that are in man's image, and there really are creepy people that promote them. And so she just one day just got frustrated and said, God, you're there, help me find you. And so she went to sleep that night, and in the middle of the night she startled with a dream, and the dream said, as clearly as I'm talking to you now, go ask Ruth. So she woke up that morning and said, okay, I better read the story of Ruth. And so she read the...
Wait, first I was like, Ruth?
Ruth Buzzy.
No, this is truly how clueless that I was. Ruth, like Bible Ruth? I literally it took me a day to figure it out. By the end of the day, I was at the bookstore going, okay, which one? Which book?
Which book?
Yeah, there's a whole row of them. And I seriously had stood back and I was just reading the back covers and I was confused for about an hour. And then this lady walked in. She looked like she knew what she was doing. So I said, which one? And she, KJV, of course. Mm-hmm. No, this one is the best one. And I'm like, so what makes it so like authorized? And she explained it. I was dumbfounded. I was completely clueless. And I read it from... I'm a weirdo. I read the last chapter first. So I read the last chapter and was like, oh my God, this is like an acid dream. I better read the front.
Oh, you're talking about the last chapter of Revelation.
Yes,
oh,
yes.
Yeah.
This reads like an acid dream. Like, what is this stuff about?
You don't follow instructions very well.
No, I don't.
God asked you to go ask Ruth. He didn't say go ask the acid dream of John, did he?
No. So it didn't make any sense. So I went back to the
Women.
very beginning, and then I went through the book.
Women.
Yeah, I went through the book, all the begots. I didn't skip anything. I went through it all. And I got to the point where I finished what people call the Old Testament, which is the Torah.
Hey, the begots are the good part.
Yeah, I got to the good part.
Begots.
And yes, they're actually
the whole story is in the begots.
Yes, it is. Actually,
really, it is.
It is. The whole story is in the begots.
And the book on begots, Numbers, is probably the most interesting prophetic book in the Torah.
It's pretty wild.
Yeah.
But I got finished with the Torah, and I knew 3 things. 1, because my brain picks up on patterns. 1, there's a problem with the name. There's a problem. He keeps complaining about, you lost my name, you did this, you did that, you're a bunch of bad kids. I got that.
Mm-hmm.
Bad kids.
Torah
bad kids.
Yeah, Torah bad kids.
and we're repeatedly bad.
Mm-hmm.
And something wrong with the name. And there is this good woman and this bad woman. And who are they? And what are they about? And that's all I know.
Did you ever read Ruth?
I did.
Because Ruth comes right after Judges, after Shaphat.
I like.
Yeah, Yahshua, the Torah, Yahshua,
I
Shaphat,
love her chutzpah.
and Ruth is right there, man.
There's something about Ruth that Ruth and I share.
Mm-hmm.
It's that ride or die loyalty.
Mm-hmm.
So
you got a lot of characteristics that are like Ruth. it's like you are Ruth there, sweetheart. So you read Ruth, and there's a really interesting term. Ruth comes right out after the great speech where you go, I go, your people, my people, your God, my God. It doesn't get any better than that. She's got conviction. She got a mouth too, but and she will not take no for an answer. She didn't do very well with instruction either, and so she's out there in the old field of Boaz, who is Mr. Bethlehem. And he essentially owns Bethlehem, and she's in the corner of the field to catch his eye. He does, and they have a little conversation, and she tries to explain who she is, and he says, "No, I don't need the explanation. I know exactly who you are." Okay, they've been married for 3,000 years prior to that, and so the first thing that Boaz says is to everybody else in his inner circle, including all of his girlfriends. He had lots of girlfriends, so we don't know quite the number, but clearly a lot of girlfriends. I like the girls. Yeah, you can't blame him for that. It's not such a bad thing. And he tells everybody, he says, do not mock her.
Don't offend her.
Do not get her any lip. Do not offend her in any way, and do not get in her way. He knows her pretty well. Don't do this. She'll set her off, man. Don't do that.
Well, and that's big because she's not Yahud in Yahudim, in Yehuda. So, I mean, they don't not dislike foreigners, but they don't really take well to foreigners,
Whoa.
Yeah, actually, she is though. Actually, she is. She's a descendant of Esau. Esau's the half brother of Jacob.
No, she's a Moabite.
She's Moabite. She's Moabite. She's from Lot.
Descendant of Lot.
Yeah, she's from Lot. Yeah.
Like a distant dirty cousin.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So dirty. Yeah, dirty.
Distant dirty cousin.
Get her some matzah.
Yeah,
but I won't correct him here. I will go even further.
Yeah.
So
she was Abraham's family.
Yes, the rabbis hate Ruth so much.
Mm-hmm.
They say the most vile things about her. They absolutely abhor her.
Yeah. So anyway, she's her next big speech is she's coming up next to the feet of Boaz there on the threshing floor after a long day's harvest. And he wants to know who is there at his feet, as if he didn't know. And she says, I am Ruth. I am your Amma.
And I will bring you the
kinsman
kinsman
as your
redeemer.
Amma, I'm going to deliver the kinsman redeemer to you. Now, that's quite a speech. That means that she's going to deliver Dode to save the covenant family in Israel. So that's a pretty impressive speech. But she says twice that she's the Amma. And no matter how you go about butchering Amma, it is obviously based on M, which is mother, and it's mother with the feminine ending. So it's either a really girly mother, a really matronly mother, a really productive mother, a really womanly mother. But it's no matter how you render it, it's the extreme of feminine.
I could probably do one better.
What's that?
Productive mother.
Yeah, that's the way I render it, is productive mother. But so she is now searching for, who is that woman? Read it. You go online. There is a woman associated with God, and she's a good woman. Who is this feminine aspect of either God's nature or associated with God's story, is what you Google.
Yep.
Back in the day, you could have Yahooed it back in the day. I don't know if you do Yahoo or Google.
Google.
You Google, okay. Mm-hmm. You Googled. And what you came to is, does anybody here know what a Yahoo is?
Yeah.
It's a slang term originally.
Well, no, but
it
was the first search engine back in the days before Google. It was Yahoo.
Yeah.
Joe Page and I actually went there and met the founder, and we had really quite an experience with that Jerry Yang. And it was named after, it's a slang of Jew. You were the Yahoos, is what the Babylonians called them. So you put that into, who is this woman? And because of my mistake, because of my extrapolation of what a feminine noun represented.
I'm here because of your mistake.
Right. If I had not made that mistake in those first 8 books that I had written that she had read, I might not have found Leah in this life. And think of how different this life would have turned out, and our doing God's job would have done. I've never done this job. Listen, if you look at human history and the 3 choke points where God came within a nanosecond of ending the human experiment, all 3, I'm there with Leah.
Yep.
All 3. And so I can't imagine doing this job without her. She was off married to somebody else. I was married to somebody else. And we were
horrible people.
We horrible people, not having a very good time at it. And so
we're not together. We make really poor choices.
Yes, we do. We don't do well. We don't do well apart from one another. But if it wasn't for my mistake, there'd be no Leah. So, and then my mistake did us another favor. We had a bunch of people who were who underneath it all were really malcontents. They've proven who they are, and they do not belong with God or with us for all eternity. They used my mistake to go off in search of Spirit Mom. And I'm the only person that directed anybody in that direction. And they went off and took the bait. And thank God they did, because look how the 80 is going to turn out now versus the way it would have turned out had that not occurred. So that mistake also served us in that way. Relieved
us of every single problem person
who
could not think.
Oh God, what a difference! So, and now we are in a situation where I've finally, after all of this time, come to appreciate feminine endings in titles and descriptors for men. A Gabora is an example. There aren't a lot of women that are Gabor, and yet Gabora is used in relation to the Choder. And wisdom, from God's perspective, is more of a masculine attribute, and emotion and love is more of a feminine, motherly and womanly attribute. And yet Chokmah is rendered for the Choder as in the feminine. And then tree, Etz, becomes Etza. But the thing that was just so amazing to me is we get into Numbers 19, and you have the sacrifice of the Adamah Parah, and you've taken Adam, man, and you've added the ending, and you've taken bull, par, and you've added the ending. It does not make, as the rabbis and the Christian want you to believe, that's a girly cow. That is not a red heifer.
Right.
No.
Right.
It's a man that completes the damn mission. And in the middle of Adam is damn, and it's written exactly as damn. And so all you've got for Adam, man, is the ram and bull's head plus blood. Damn. And you add the and you have now transformed this man so that he is in a position he can be productive. And not just productive in the sense of he can go off and chop wood and hunt rabbits and bring them home. He is now productive in that he can have offspring. He can father children. That's what makes Adamah so much richer than Adam by itself. So with the dam and the bull's head, he is the man, the bloody red man from the earth who is productive. And bull becomes para because it is a productive bull, a bull that can generate offspring. And so this is God's way of going about saying, I'm working through people who will complete the mission and who are more complete.
And
I don't want them to be perfect.
Harvests.
I want them to be more complete. Go ahead, Kevin.
Yeah, perfect are productive as in 2 harvests. I mean, that's some pretty good production. Bringing the standing grain home for Yah, you know. I mean,
so. two harvests and a purging.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
And a re-identification of Yahweh's name, and a restoration of Dod's acclaim, and having 3 lives at the crossroads of the human experiment, where God was about to wipe out humanity prior to the flood, and Noah and his family listened to God and become exemplars for what really has to happen if you're going to have God elevate you in this process. And then when Dod falls apart over Bathsheba, and there were many other things prior to that, but he really lost it. And he's the most important human who's ever lived. And, you know, we're talking about he's been here since Adam. We're brought right back there to save him together as a couple. And we don't do that. The rest of it doesn't matter. It's all for naught. And then here now, beginning 25 years before the harvest and 32 years before before the Teruah fulfillment, we're called to rectify the problem once again, that nobody knows Yahweh's name. No one knows what Dod has done. No one understands the conditions of the covenant. No one understands the intent of the Moed Mikre.
No one cares.
No one has any idea what the timeline is, when these events are going to occur. There's no one calling people to Shabbat and preparing them to be harvested. No one seems to care about any of this. No one knows that Dod and Yahweh are returning on Kippurim. People believe that Jesus was a God man. I mean, they believe that rabbis are speaking for God. I mean, the world is really lost. So, 3 times. Yeah, it's not. God says, you know, I've been through this before. We got her done. We're going to get her done again. Even if we have to sing in reggae, we're gonna get her done.
It's a good thing.
Yeah, and I'm quite convinced that we would not have gotten it done had it not been for the mistake on Ruach and how that resolved the separation at that time between Leah and myself, and how essential that was, as it had been previously. We're not. Ethan Ha-Izraki is not going to get Dod's attention to the extent that that man had a really short attention span, and he was really in a funky mood, had it not been for Leah and the final word picture and what she did to say, hey, son, you need to understand who you are, and you need to stop thinking with the little head, because you got a real problem going here. And you need to understand that heretofore, you have not been good with the ladies. You think you're a ladies' man. it ain't working out for you. And I'm here to tell you, you just don't know how to approach women and how to deal with women or how to choose the right woman to be with. So here, son, I'm going to fix you up. And without that, I don't think I'd have the audience that even delivering the 89th Mizmor for it to have prevailed. But that's why we're here.
Strange, I warned every one of my brothers before they got married, too.
Mm-hmm.
None of those worked out.
Yeah. So it's a pretty exciting story. And the more we study it, the more I just think it resonates with us. And Ruth is center to it. And, I think we have a team of 80 people that are going to be able to convey that story going forward for a long time. I'm more comfortable with who we are and what we're doing than I've ever been. And I think that we are, as a collective family of people, a good mix of men and women, a good mix of young and old, a good mix of Jews and Gentiles. All of us standing, all of us mature, all of us having really grown into our purpose. Well, let's delve into a little bit of Luminaries, since even though we've been talking a lot about Luminaries, I do want to make certain we get some of it in, because this family hour will be joint listed and Luminaries as part of the basics. The next statement we're going to consider from Yoel, it is about chariots. And you can look at it in a number of different ways. You can say that he is still describing all of the war preparation and the arrival of this massive numbers of belligerents in the Mujahideen, or he's talking about that this is going to culminate with the chariots that were described in Zechariah. And now, boy, when we know 700 and 700, that's from a spiritual chariot point of view, that's not overwhelming. That now makes a whole lot of sense. So
two C-130s. Two C-130s.
Yeah, two C-130s, and I think that God can outdo the C-130. It's just
right.
It's about a 747 or half of an Airbus A380, right? Aren't they in that kind of range? So this is what it says. It says there will be what could be compared to the appearance. It is from Ka Mare, and Mare is Ra'ah is to be seen, but the Ma prefix of what can be seen says you ought to ponder the implications of this. And Ka tells you what I'm telling you now is something that draws a comparison. It is make the connection with what I'm saying, as opposed to saying, all right, there's a horse. No, think it through. It's a little more
probably going to be a Hilux, huh?
Yeah,
probably going to be a Hilux technical.
Yeah, Hilux technical. There you are. So there will be what could be compared to the appearance, something similar to the sight of a visual phenomenon that could be comprehended by comparison from Ma, to ponder the implications of, and Ra'ah, what can be seen and perceived as swift stallions. Now, when God was describing the four chariots in Zechariah, he didn't describe the color of the vehicle. He described the coloration of the shush that were pulling them. Mm-hmm. And God, when he creates a language, he puts in wiggle room for himself for his metaphors. That shush is just as easily rendered horse as it is a swift flying bird. So shush could be a flying horse. And it's the horses that we're paying attention to and the way that their coloration. There's a red one, which is, the man from Edom that is suitably dressed in red, the Adamah Parah, the bloody red man of the earth. There's the red one that's carrying him around. He is protecting those that are currently in Israel. And it stays in Israel. Then you have the black one that picks up all of the people dressed in black, all the religious. Muslims are particularly in black, but it's mostly of Jews. It's the Haredim and the ultra-Orthodox. He's picking them all up. He's taking them to Sheol. They're dressed perfectly for where they're going.
All three imams wear black. Christian priests and nuns wear black.
They do.
And rabbis wear black. They're all dressed for their own funeral. Perfect.
Right. But particularly the Orthodox and the Haredim Jews, they are dressed for
Nothing
the black
but
hole.
black.
They're dressed for the black hole that they're entering. So the black one's going to go pick them all up, and then the white one goes and picks up the Israelites that God says these are salvageable. There's 700 of them now. And then there's the dappled one that goes out around the whole world and brings in all of the goyim whose attitudes and aptitudes are suitable for work going forward. And Kevin, you and I played through that again, and it's important to recognize that there's like 8 different reasons why, if you're a goy, you want to be on that chariot, even though you're going to be essentially slaves for the first 50 years. We're all going to be working. You're going to be working in ideal conditions. You're going to be working with the nicest people in the history of the world. Your alternative is to die. God has to have recompense for all that Goyim did to Jews for all of this time. He can't just simply overlook it. At this point, you don't know God from Adam. You were just chosen because you weren't overtly religious or political. You don't know God from Adam. Yeah, that's kind of funny because we created Adam as his firstborn son, and you don't know him. So you've lived your life. The author of life saying, "I'm going to give you an extension of life, and I'm going to give it to you in the most ideal circumstances." And you're actually going to have now the opportunity, 50 years from now, to make an independent decision if you want to be covenant or not, and to prove that you're worthy. It's the best thing that could possibly happen. But anyway, you've got the goyim there in the dappled with the dappled chariot, but it's really the dappled horse that is pulling that chariot, and it's a spiritual chariot. So God says, swift stallions. It could be what could be compared to the appearance of swift stallions. This phenomenon could be perceived as, again, it's moire hue, as distinct charioteers whose declared purpose will be to separate. So if you're reading this as these are instruments of God, he's separating right now, dividing, making a statement by congregating into distinct groups, distinguishing and clarifying. It's from parash, to distinctly declare that the purpose is to separate into distinct and different categories. That's the basis of logical decision making and of rhetoric and of knowing the difference between right and wrong, is to discern these things, thereby rightfully causing them to move very quickly and correctly. Can roots. Can means truthfully, rightfully. Roots speaks of quickly, such that they dart about and swiftly canvass the area, pursuing the proper response. Imperfect, third person, masculine, plural. Paragogic, none. I want to emphasize this is happening. This is an emphatic statement. It's got ongoing implications over time. But okay, this sounds like I'm giving you symbolic language, but I want you to interpret it quite literally. These horses are very real, and they're spiritual horses. They're going to be able to pull these flying chariots. So by this time, by the way, it is way too late to be impressed with miracles. So, if you're dazzled by the flying horse, it's not going to do any good.
You're not getting on the red or the dappled chariot if
you are not, or the white one. If this is pretty, I won't go fly on that. No, not going to happen. So while this is rendered more in keeping with the Zechariah presentation, whereby God is dispatching the chariots with some position to rescue his people based upon the highly symbolic language, they could be that, or they could just depict the militant apparatus that God will be destroying. I personally think that this is a reaffirmation Well, that Zechariah would be a reaffirmation of this. We actually don't know with Yoel. Most scholarly instinct puts it before Yashaya, Yirmiyah, before Hosea, as a book written not too long after Daud's life as the shepherd boy who became king. And others put it between Zechariah and Malachi. It's a timeless book that doesn't draw credibility from any period of time within Israel. It's just, I'm going to tell you about the last days. So it doesn't really matter who I was or when I was. I'm just going to tell you about the last days. And that's the entire story of the book. So we don't know. We don't know if this is explaining Zechariah and the chariots, or if Zechariah came later to explain what's in Yoel. Or does it really matter which one came first? So either way, they're going to be fast, they're going to be loud, they're going to be prolific, at least in scope and size. Accordingly, the sound of the loud roaring voice of these chariots, I think that the voice is going to be piercing. God's going to get the message across. You, not you. Upon the summits of the mountains, when they come back into Israel, their destination is the summits of the mountains. This will be, for the witnesses, the best place to view what's going to occur is going to be the Mount of Olives. And yet, there are going to be many that are going to surround Moriah. Upon the summits of the mountains, as they leap about, springing into the air, it is like the crackling of a flame, as if clattering swords, even with the roaring sound of glowing gases, as fire devours the stubble and the chaff. A pretty interesting depiction. It's almost like these chariots are comprised of glowing gases, of light, and that they're transporting people in something that is literally glowing. Such is the nature of this vast army of countless throng of militants. This is Ka'am Atsum, as it is drawn up, aligned, arranged, and positioned for the war. This is Yoel, Yah's God, Joel 2:5. Now, God could be saying that all of this is commiserate with the time that all of these people have come in as part of the war. He could also be saying these chariots are part of the mechanization of this invading army. Now, I think if you wanted to go to, they represent the militants, there's a couple of challenges with that. The militants cannot come to Israel in flying machines. Israel would, you try to fly a combative cargo plane into Israel with all of their defense systems, and every single one is going to be knocked out of the sky. I mean, all of their missile systems are find aircraft, and particularly slow-moving cargo aircraft, super fun to shoot down. And Iran doesn't have any of those kind of aircraft, so it's really unlikely that would be the case. And you're not going to have A-10s or Apache helicopters or fancy things. That's not going to be flown by Iran either. And there wouldn't even be a lot of them coming in from Turkey. So I just don't see that. And when you're talking about the missiles are essentially silent. The drones are essentially silent. And so it's not going to be like this. So I think it's in the presence of all of these combatants coming into Israel, you've got God working the chariots to protect Israel with the red chariot, get rid of the screaming mimes of the rabbinical type with the black chariot. The white chariot brings the Israelites that are salvageable into Jerusalem, and the dappled one brings in the Goyim. But you can see it as one way or the other, or both. I just have a tough time trying to explain how both works here, or how a military mechanisms work. Because the thing that works about Alaska Flood 2.0, the Great Jihad, is it's going to wreak havoc on Israel the same way that Alaska Flood 1.0 did, which is Israel is very effective at fending off militaries that fly airplanes, that ride around in tanks. And so military to military, jet pilot to jet pilot, Israel is going to annihilate you. But when it came to 4,000 Muslims in tennis shoes, the IDF was stymied, had no clue what to do. They wouldn't even fly the A-10s. They wouldn't fly the Apache gunships. They didn't know how to respond. They didn't even just send out the tanks. They didn't do anything. Three successive waves, 6 a.m., noon, and as late as 4 o'clock in the afternoon. 3 successive waves going back and forth across the border, and most of them were walking. And
they had a few powered hang gliders.
They did.
They fly at like 50 miles an hour, maybe.
Yeah, but that was for show. Even for that, it was just, okay, that's our technology. We got hang gliders. And they, bottle rockets for rockets. But most of them came in on foot. Some rode in and just beaten up pickup trucks. Some were on motor scooters. And they're not going to be terribly different when the Iranians come into Israel by the millions. It's the lack of mechanization that's going to make that whole thing possible, such that there's no defense for them. Israel can't send A-10s or Apache gunships to obliterate this huge migration of mujahideen, because they'll be equipped with shoulder-mounted missiles and down helicopters and A-10s like nothing. And they don't have drone swarms to take them out. So men on foot is the answer for Iran, just as men on foot was the answer for the Muslims coming out of Gaza. And then at the same time, there's going to be two other aspects of this war. Turkey is going to engage with weapons of war that'll keep the IDF occupied, and they'll be able to fight that war reasonably well. But at the same time, Iran was going to inundate Israel, along with the Houthis and others, with drone swarms and missiles and rockets and all sorts of weaponry and from the sky. So they'll take out the big cities that way, and they'll take out the smaller communities with the mujahideen. It's unstoppable, and Israel is still nowhere close to being able to stop it. I don't know if you heard the other day, but the Jerusalem Post has reported, and I wouldn't even have given this a second thought if it wasn't from the Jerusalem Post. But the Jerusalem Post reported that in the last week, between large container ships and large Air Force transport planes, the United States has provided Israel with 12 million pounds of bombs. In the last week, the United States has supplied Israel with 12 million pounds of bombs. If a pound of munitions and a fragmentary bomb can take out an average of 4 people if dropped in a place like Tehran or any one of the cities, because there's no way you're going to drop those kind of bombs from those are gravity kinds of munitions for the most part, but there's no way you're going to deploy them in unpopulated areas. You can't do any more damage to anything Iran has from a military point of view, because the military things are all underground, even beneath what the bunker busters will damage. So the only place to use them is over civilian population centers. If it's a quarter of a pound of munitions per person, that's 50 million people. That's half Iran's population.
And the other side of that, go ahead, Will.
No, I was just going to say, was any of that defensive yet in terms of, a lot of talk about these interceptors, and there's just this is a little off topic, but it just wondering about the interceptors and where they are to date, because they should be low. They said they had a shipment that went out to Germany, and that was a political miscalculation on Israel's part to send those interceptors out while this is happening, with Iran. But just, I'm sure some of those munitions, were they defensive?
Mm-hmm.
No, that's just all, attack munitions.
Yeah, the United States has gone through more than half of its defensive weaponry.
That's right.
And has taken defensive weaponry from its previous Gulf allies and from Korea, Taiwan, Europe. We've raped the world of defensive munitions, and we've gone through half of America's stockpile. And for the most part, these defensive munitions take 2 years to replenish.
That's right.
So there is no replenishing interceptors.
Yep.
It's done.
That's what I thought.
And so in 45 days of fighting in the 60-day war so far, the United States has gone through half of the total stockpile of interceptors, and cannot afford to use the rest of them. I mean, there's a defense appropriation bill of $50 billion more for the Defense Department. There's a report that they have spent $25 billion in the war thus far. That's hogwash. It's 4 or 5 times that. So no, these are bombs. I mean, it's that the United States wants to turn the war into a proxy war.
Well, and that was what I was going to bring up, is that if you sat and listened to any press conference or any Senate hearing, this appropriations, all Hegseth, all Trump, all that Bond, whatever the press secretary can talk about, is they have no Navy, they have no Air Force, they have no army. We've completely done all of our military objectives. We've bombed them completely back. They have no economy left. So that leaves the question, what is left to bomb then? I mean, are there some girls' schools left over that they're going after now that they didn't hit before? I mean,
Iran's military hasn't been decimated even 1%. The Revolutionary Guard Corps, the Quds force, the army itself and the volunteers, they're at 99.5% of their original strength, but highly more motivated. Sure. So if anything, the United States has built the size of the military of Iran. Iran's navy was not built upon large surface ships, which the U.S. sank some on ceremonial missions. Iran's navy is all in fast boats that are under cover of ground along the Strait of Hormuz that are either remote control or they are human piloted, but they shoot missiles and torpedoes. And Iran has thousands of them. The number is estimated at tens of thousands of them, and the United States hasn't reduced that by even 5%. The factories that manufacture missiles are all buried deeply underground. The United States hasn't impacted that at all. The United States claimed that it obliterated that Iran's nuclear capability and eliminated it, and then 9 months later said that Iran was on the cusp of having a bomb. So obviously they lied. And now that after all this time, when Hegseth is saying, what would you do to keep Iran from having a bomb? Obviously, if Iran wanted to have a bomb at any time in the last 10 years, they would have had a bomb, because it takes almost nothing to refine 60% uranium-235 to 87% in missile and fissile purity for a nuclear warhead. And so Iran at any time over that 10 years could have had a bomb if they chose to have one. Anytime. And so you haven't stopped Iran from having a bomb. They chose not to have one. They chose to put themselves in a position where they could have one, and now you have motivated them to have one, such that they will have one, and maybe and probably already do have one. So you've been counterproductive. You haven't done anything except encourage it and make it a necessity. And Iran never had an air force. Iran decided that air forces were passé. I've been talking about this for a long time. I said negatively and positively, the drone has eliminated the need for piloted aircraft. Because the drone can be deployed so much faster, so much cheaper, and not put people at risk of being prisoners of war. And so it is tragic in that it will cause wars to be fought more frequently because the cost of entry is so much lower. But to continue to pursue F-35s, for example, is a complete and utter waste of money and time.
It takes a lot less time to train a drone operator than a jet pilot. Jet pilot takes a lot of training.
Right. And you can once you've developed the technology to guide your drone or your missile, you can have anybody push the button. Right? It's an entirely different approach. And when you realize that the missile is a fraction of the cost of the aircraft, and it's a fraction of the cost of the interceptor, Iran realized that the answer was drones and missiles, and rockets, not an air force. And the United States is in the dinosaur age, still clinging to an air force when that's not the answer. So, the U.S. can play the Vietnam War all over again, or the World War II and do body counts and do we took out this ship, we took out that ship. It's meaningless. They're talking about the wrong metrics. So
too many people think of war in terms of World War II, an army clashing against an army. Our army went into Iraq and took out the Iraqi army in no time. Then how many people did we lose in the years after that? Because that's not how wars are fought anymore.
That's correct.
We refuse to acknowledge that.
Correct. And particularly when it's a religious war.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
If I may, does Israel have any air supremacy? I mean, if a million people come across the desert, even if they're spread out, could they not bomb those people and really put a hurt on them?
No, because they spread out too far. And here in UOL, we're going to read that they never bump into each other. They spread out, and because they spread out, there is nothing. No, you cannot bomb them into oblivion if they spread out, because the bombs will be too ineffective. There's too many of them, and the bombs are way too ineffective. And so you would use close-in support aircraft, Apache gunships and A-10s. But the problem with those is they have to fly low, and when they fly low, they're too susceptible to the shoulder-fired missiles, as we saw it when the U.S. tried to capture Captain Uranium back there in that failed episode where they lost two C-130s, a couple of Navy gunships, and an A-10 and an F-15. They lost them all because they had to fly low, and they fly low, they're too vulnerable.
They learned from the 1967 war and the 1991 war that you can't have a bunch of trucks and troops and tanks on one road. In 67, the Israeli Air Force napalmed them. There was just a highway of death through the Sinai Peninsula. And in 91, the road to Basra, that was just a death because there was a bunch of trucks and stuff. And the A-10s just flew in and killed everybody and dropped bombs. Yeah. So they're going to be spread out. They've learned.
Yes,
they've learned. 30 years to learn, but they learned.
They've learned how to do this, and that's why even in the dress rehearsal for Alaska Flood, the ultimate jihad, the jihadists came in from like 10, 12 different places through the fence, not one, and they came through in 3 phases through that fence, not all at once, and they immediately spread out. That is the strategy they're going to use coming in from Iran, and they're going to go through Iraq, which is Iran West now, and then through Syria, which has been decimated.
They learned Muhammad's old tactics work.
Yes. Yeah. And it's if you have enough men that are willing to die for the cause,
and they got a surplus of that,
and they have a surplus of that. So this is what Israel is facing. This is what the prophets have predicted. This is what Israel doesn't seem to get. And that every time Israel bombs another building in Gaza or attacks Lebanon, or now what if Israel is the one that deploys these 12 million pounds of munitions? It's isolated from the entire world, hated by the entire world, and manufacturing jihadists by the millions.
Well, my only question is, how are there going to be any Israelis left alive when the two witnesses show up in Jerusalem?
Yeah, it's a really good question. The prophets say, it's in Zechariah, I think 13, that 2 out of every 3 Jews are going to be dead by that time. And that's a lot of carnage. That's 10 million people that we know of. That's a lot of people dead. And every time Israel fights a war, it's been 100 to 1 or so Jewish casualties to those that they have fought against. And this time it's not going to be that way. And even if it were that way, Israel would still lose. Yeah. So we have Dr. Jeff. How are you? You're in the hospital. Are you feeling well?
I'm doing okay. Shabbat shalom, chavarim, precious family. I'm keeping my head above water.
It looks like you've been dealing with some challenging cases.
Several, and a family member who's a lawyer who is trying to indict everybody.
Really? So you're trying to treat a patient with a lawyer threatening you. Oh, there you go. You went offline. Israel, you brought this on yourselves. You did this to yourselves. God is not sending them in. He doesn't communicate with Muslims.
Right.
You did this to yourselves, and by believing Netanyahu and by pretending that Trump has your back, all you're doing is making yourself more vulnerable. You've turned the entire world against you. You don't have any supporters anywhere in the world. The world hates you now. And it was tragic what happened on 10/7 of 23, but you went and destroyed the evidence. You didn't document it. You didn't show it. And so when you destroyed Gaza, no one is remembering because you destroyed the evidence of what happened on 10/7. And all we see is the complete obliteration of Gaza. So you had Muslims try to perpetrate genocide against you, and now you're presented as genocidal because you lost the information war. You didn't even fight it. You got destroyed. You got destroyed by people who have half your average IQ, who have been doing this to you for 14 centuries, and you still can't see the pattern. By the way, the open letter to Israel, thanks to Perry, for the first time now in a while, it's actually playing again. You can listen to it. It's on the vlog page. It's up there in the title, Open Letter to Israel. And I'm going to listen to it again this weekend because we may we'll do one of two things. We'll either share it again and now that we really have better equipment and can produce a more effective blog. We may do it again. We may do it as a vlog on the blog, Kevin, where we do it collectively as a group and go through that open letter and talk about it. But I think we need to make a bigger deal of the open letter to Israel in terms of the fact that on the morning of October 7th of 23, I predicted exactly how Israel was going to respond, and I told Israel these will be the consequences. This is what you're going to do to yourself if you respond this way, which I said you were going to do. And I said but that isn't the right approach. Here's the 5 things you could do that would prevail, but they didn't do any of them. And so I think we probably ought to go through that again.
That's a good revisit. Absolutely.
I think so.
Okay, that'll be a on the to-do list. It's just essential that we do whatever we can to tell Israel just how terrible the fix is. Israel is viewing Trump as the second coming of Cyrus, and Yahweh presents him as Rahab, the great betrayer. I just think anything we can do that underscores the realization that we were able to identify them 18 months ago, long before they betray Israel, and have done everything we can to awaken Israel, done everything we can to inform Israel that Islam is their enemy. They can't placate Islam. They can't win the hearts and minds of Muslims. They can't normalize relationships with Saudi Arabia and become buddy-buddy. This is just not going to happen. And that they're putting themselves in jeopardy with every miscalculation, and that Netanyahu has been a disaster for them. But what do they have? You're going to go back to Bennett, who, essentially gave Israel's greatest gift here recently, which was the gas fields off the coast of Israel. And he essentially gave 50% of the revenue and access to Hezbollah. That's your guy? You're going back to him? The guy who made a deal with a Marxist to share the government and turned it over to Lapid as a Marxist? And that's your solution? And, you've got a war criminal. I mean, he's really a bad man in Netanyahu, and he's such a hypocrite, fighting a war while taking a third of his political support in the Haredim and keeping them out of the battle while enriching them with a government who no longer can afford to have these parasites. And yet that's how he stays in power, fighting a war while protecting his voting bloc such that they don't have to fight in that war. And that's your guy? So Israel, you've done this to yourself, and we are now less than 3 weeks from the time of Jacob's trouble, and you seem oblivious to it. And maybe they seem oblivious to it because they still believe the Rambam and Maimonides and his calendar's off by 197 years. They think they've got 197 more years when they've got 7. And these 7 are going to be hellacious.
Or we're chosen and Hashem's just going to take care of us just because, so we don't have to do anything. We don't have to shub. We don't have to do any work. We don't have to, yeah.
Yeah, how is Hashem, how did he do with you during the Holocaust? How did he do with you during the birth of Islam in Yathrib and in Kabar? How did he do with protecting you under the Ottomans and under the Byzantines and under the Roman Catholics and under the Romans and under the Greeks and under the Babylonians and under the Assyrians? When you stopped paying any attention to him, you violated the covenant, you erased his name. Doesn't look like he's been your best bud, does he?
It's a disaster.
When he said, "I'm leaving you and I'm going away to heaven and I'm not returning until you return to me," what part of that don't you agree with?
No, it's sad.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say on Twitter, it's in some ways heartbreaking. People that you really like, just they're talking. Hashem is gonna. He's always been with us, and it's like, no, he hasn't.
No,
he hasn't with you.
Read your Torah. Yeah. No, he's not with you. Read your Torah.
That's right.
So you're not with him, which is why he can't be with you.
Yeah.
He tried to be with you. He wanted to be with you. He chose you. You just didn't choose him back.
He was like a husband.
Yeah, I was Baal to you. But you were not my children. You were not my spouse. I'm having to divorce you. It's tragic. And it's even more tragic that here we are as Goyim calling them back home, returning the authority of Yahweh's name, bringing them back to the actual Messiah and Son of God, who they've negated and neglected in Dode. And they're just not listening. They haven't listened to anyone. Really, Israelites haven't listened to anyone associated with God in 3,000 years. That's why I think that God's really pleased that we're going to have Haiti on Shabbat. I think it's a tremendous success and accomplishment, and a wonderful attaboy. That's great, man. We've gone all the way through up to this point. The high water mark prior to this was 8, and so nicely done with 80. And
look at these 80. Look at what they can do. Look at how well they work together. Look at how well they know Torah. Look at how well they know my name, up, down, back. I mean,
yeah,
it's a quality 80. I think he's going to be tickled. Absolutely.
It's a quality 80, and it's not too many. It's not too few. It's quality over quantity, and we've got a job to do. We're thrilled to have this job, and we're going to get her done. We're going to stick to it and make sure that we get it done. We're going to get it done with a smile too, particularly if One Love becomes our theme song. We're here to get the stink out.
Matzah, get the stink out, man.
Matzah, get the stink out.
Yeah.
How in the world do you come up with lyrics like that?
Staying up late.
Yep. So, Rich, we've had a long day. We've been doing this for a few hours here today, haven't we?
A little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. So,
Poor Rich.
13 hours.
Yep, Barry, you've been here with us all the way. So, thank you, guys, on the home front here, and JB and Will and Mike and my good friend Captain Kirk and Kevin. We've been joined at the hip most of today. Leah,
right?
Yeah, you guys got after
Rich and Perry. Yep. So we know Dr. Jeff tried to join us as well, and let's see what we can do in terms of revisiting the open letter to Israel. We'll take we should all take either a read through it or a listen to the program and see if it's something we need to improve on, or if we run with that program but do a narrative on it. We listen to that program for a bit, stop it, and then talk about it. That's another possibility. And then
right.
We do know we have a couple of more additions that will be part as we start the Vlog on the Blog daily beginning next week. We'll do it 5 days next week and try to do it every day thereafter at 11 o'clock Eastern time. I know we'll have Roger back. Roger did a great job. And then we've got, I know Matt is lined up to do one. And you said there's somebody else that had volunteered?
Noah Lowry. Yeah, Noah Lowry.
Okay.
He was interested. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Okay. So what I think we ought to do is, it's a good friend of Kirk's. What we'll need to do here is to have anybody that's interested in being part of that rotation use the chat capability. Kevin is easy to find. He's the guy with the handsome dog logo for him. Shoot him a message or post something that says you want to do this. And those, you just know that we do it live, and you've got to be ready to go. It's like we started at 10 minutes early, 10 minutes before 11. So you got to be ready to go by around 10:30 on weekday mornings. I know people that work, that's a tough thing to do unless you're living on the West Coast and you want to get up early before work, or you're retired. But that's when we're going to do it. We understand too that people don't have to listen to the live show. They can listen to the archives at any time. That's why we're distributing the archives on the website. So please do that. We now have a pretty nice presentation of live shows on the website. Now we have a little logo that comes up on the top of the screen when the next show is going to air. And if you're on the website, you can actually see it play. I think it's playing on Blue when it plays on the website, and you can see the comments that are being made. And you go to Blue and be part of the comments, and So it's a pretty integrated system at this point. So please, by all means. Yes, Mike.
The comments can't be very long on YouTube. Like when I post stuff, it's like a big long.
But guess what can happen when you go to that show on our site? So you can go to the basics if it's a basic, or the vlog if it's a vlog, and you click on it. You will come up with a comment window, and that comment window will accommodate an entire book, and it retains formatting. It does it really well. So you can post. You can post whatever you want to support what you want. You can go back in and edit it at any time that you want. And everybody that clicks on that video, that vlog, thereafter, the first thing they're going to see is your comment, your additions. So it not only does it get attached to that particular show, that vlog, whatever you write, but it also gets put into the chat functionality, where if you go to vlog, basics, blog, or comments, you're going to see all of the comments that anyone made on any one of these videos that they have watched and commented on. And then you can like it and you can contribute to it.
Okay.
All right. So there is the way to do that. Yes.
Can you illustrate your remarks? Post that
yes, absolutely.
Oh,
fax in a sheet, Kurt.
Yeah, that with every comment that you make, there is the ability to attach. You can attach a short video. You can attach a graphic. You can attach a picture. You can attach something that you've copied and saved from elsewhere. You can attach your own illustration. Absolutely. In fact, I think the comments are more interesting because you can attach any illustration or any picture, anything you want to attach. It's there, including a large document. Oh, it's done so much better than I tried to on Facebook. Wow.
That's not my dog.
That's not my dog. That's not my dog either.
I came in to get something out of the room, and the
okay.
youngest pup came in and had to let herself be known.
Okay, well, happy dog. I tried to post just a paragraph on Facebook, and the formatting was so destroyed that it became useless, and I just canceled it. But I took that same paragraph and I presented it in our chat, and every nuance of the formatting was retained. And
Facebook gets rid of the bold type, or the heavier type on your translations.
Yes, and
it's also limited to like 10,000 characters, which is a lot more than YouTube. YouTube is very limited.
Yes, but on our chat, there is no limit. It does retain all formatting, bold and italics, paragraph indentations and spacing. All of it is retained. Colors are retained. If you color something that you want to highlight, and you can intersperse within the text an illustration or a picture, before it, in it, or after it. It's really well done. It's Joe created a better version of Facebook from scratch. He created a better version of X from scratch. And he created a much better way to organize and present YouTube from scratch, while also creating an instant messenger capability from scratch, and having a full integrated library, which you can't do on any of those sites. Plus have that library searchable, plus have that library presentable on translations only, plus have the library readable in 3 different ways at the touch of a button. And it's mind-boggling how sophisticated that website is. And even with all of its sophistication and all of its tremendous content, it's beautiful. And it's also filled with invitations that are so charming and so interesting. And they're found if you go to media, which has all of our media, social media sites, and you click on media, you'll see on the top of media, invites are Do You Yada. Click on invites and just play them. And comment on them. They're charming. They're beautiful. That first one that's there is my very favorite. It's walking through a book into the library, and the library is gorgeous. But there's many of them that are beautiful, and the music is better than the show. The whole presentation of the music, the full page of music. I think there's 80 plus songs now as part of the musical library. They're all original. It's stunning what's there in terms of content and in terms of just how beautiful the site is. It's it's not the least bit cluttered, even with all of that material. And even the timeline is magnificent. I'm really proud of what everybody has done. It's been a collective effort, and there's a lot of hands involved in that, and a lot of hands creating the content for it. All right, if you wouldn't mind, we'll play One Love on the way out. We're going to have a smile on our Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom, Israel. You've only got, 3 weeks of them, and it's going to be the most difficult time in the history of the Jewish people, and it's going to be a tough time for the world as large. We of course, want the best for you. We lay down our life for you. We're devoted to you. No one has worked harder for you or is more committed to your survival than we are. But we also have to warn you, you've become your own worst enemy. And it's time that you walk away from your the negative influences, Judaism, Christianity, Islam, Marxism, and return to Yahweh, please, for your own sake. Let's let One Love sing us out tonight. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Pesach lamp on this lake in 33. Blood a flow for free, we from Pharaoh's wicked laws. He spring over shall get no more slave to the beast. Yahweh's are overrise, bring the covenant feast. Hey, oh. Pesach night, lamb roasted true. Thou pay the price to me and you. No religion chain, no politics near. Pesach unlock the door, Yahweh dead. Matzah on yeast bread, clean out the living that make you stink. No religion puff up, pure truth from the Torah. Be carrying firstborn, rise up perfect in you. Thou lead we home in a Yahuwah's crew. Shabbat waiting, promise sweet and true. Taruah shouts, Kippurim heal, Sukkah for the joy in the song. Shag Matzah 7 days, birthdays from your soul. No Christianity, Babylon, no Rabbi control. Thou unleavened life, perfect without sin spot. From Torah teaching flow, connect the dots. Be carrying wave the sheep, first fruit rise in the light. Thou the immortal now, and the endless night. From spring feast to fall, a plan unfold right. Yeah, Yahweh family call, step in a the fight. Yeah, Matzah on yeast bread, clean up the living life. No religion puff up, pure truth from the Most High. Be carrying firstborn, rise up perfect in you. Thou lead we all in a Yahuwah's crew. Shabbat waiting, promise sweet and true. Yeah. Taruah show, Kippurim heal, Sukkah for the joy in the song. Hey, the rhythm, Pesach door open wide, Matzah purified, the current side by side. Shabua and Rick 7-7 Glotaru a trumpet blow that call. All the children home so keep him reconcile. White tears from every eye. Suka camp out eternal under Yahweh sky. Now the Masha's king reign for 1,000 years. No more pieces there. Corrupt and straight in Yashe. Damika recall your own too. One love, one key God. One day Elohim, one day Elohim. Yeah. I read that vibe. Doubt forever true. Yada Yahweh. Fianu one come true. Torah land the path. No blind faith no more. Family coming undone. Hope in living's goal. Yeah, mo. Shabua, one love, one year.
Hey there, thanks for tuning in. That was Fetch. Gotta run now. Catch y'all on our next podcast.